Imagine a composer. He is brilliant, acclaimed. Yet, he is also an enigma. Charles-Valentin Alkan was such a figure. Born in early 19th century Paris, Alkan lived a life shrouded in mystery. Despite his extraordinary talent as a pianist and composer, he remains largely unknown to the wider world. His music, though challenging, is full of depth and emotion. It reflects a unique voice, one that continues to fascinate and inspire. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Charles-Valentin Alkan, a true original in the annals of classical music. His story is a reminder that genius can often be found in the most unexpected places. His life was a tapestry woven with threads of brilliance and isolation. Born in 1813, Alkan was a child of Paris, a city teeming with artistic energy and cultural vibrancy. He entered the world into a Jewish family already steeped in music, a family where melodies and harmonies were as common as daily bread. His father, a respected musician and teacher, recognized his son's prodigious talent early on, nurturing it with the care and attention it deserved. Young Charles-Valentin began his musical journey at the prestigious Paris Conservatoire, an institution renowned for producing some of the finest musicians in the world. He was only 6 years old, yet his small hands danced over the piano keys with a grace and skill that belied his age. The hallowed halls of this institution had nurtured generations of great musicians, and now they echoed with the sounds of Alkan's burgeoning genius. Alkan thrived in this environment, absorbing knowledge and technique like a sponge, always eager to learn more. He quickly distinguished himself as a student of exceptional promise. His talent was undeniable, a beacon that shone brightly among his peers. Teachers and fellow students alike marveled at his abilities, often gathering to watch him play, their faces a mix of awe and admiration. Alkan excelled in all areas of musical study, his dedication and passion evident in every note he played. He mastered piano, organ, and composition with equal ease, each instrument becoming an extension of his very soul. Awards and accolades followed, confirming the young musician's extraordinary gifts and setting him on a path to greatness. He seemed destined for a life on the grand concert stages of Europe, where his name would be celebrated by audiences far and wide. His name was whispered with reverence in the Salons of Paris, where the elite gathered to discuss art, music, and culture. Yet, even at this early stage, a certain reticence, a preference for solitude, began to manifest. Despite his public success, Alkan often sought the quiet and solace of his own company, a trait that would define much of his later life. Word of Alkan's prodigious talent spread quickly. He was soon captivating audiences with his performances. His playing was said to be electrifying. It combined technical brilliance with a rare emotional depth. Critics and audiences alike were astounded. They recognized in him a musician of exceptional gifts, a true original. His compositions, too, began to garner attention. They were challenging, innovative, and deeply personal. Alkan's music pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in the Romantic era. He explored unconventional harmonies and complex rhythms. This daring approach set him apart from his contemporaries. His compositions demanded both technical virtuosity and a deep understanding of musicality. They were not for the faint of heart, nor for the casual listener. Yet those who were drawn into Alkan's musical world found themselves richly rewarded. His music offered a glimpse into a unique and complex mind. It was a world of intense emotion, intellectual rigor, and breathtaking beauty. Alkan's star continued to rise, illuminating the Parisian music scene with his extraordinary talent and unique compositions. He seemed poised to become one of the leading musical lights of his generation, captivating audiences with his virtuosic piano performances and innovative works. Yet, his path took an unexpected turn, one that would lead him away from the bustling concert halls and adoring crowds. Instead of courting fame and seeking the limelight, Alkan began to withdraw into the shadows, choosing solitude over the spotlight. He became increasingly reclusive, shunning the public eye and the acclaim that came with it. He preferred the company of his music to the adulation of crowds, finding solace and inspiration in the quiet moments alone with his piano. This withdrawal from the public sphere has puzzled biographers and music lovers for centuries, leaving many to wonder about the true reasons behind his retreat. Some speculate that Alkan's reclusive nature stemmed from a deep-seated shyness, a reluctance to face the scrutiny and pressures of public life. Others suggest he was simply more interested in the pursuit of his art than in the trappings of fame, dedicating himself entirely to his craft. Whatever the reason, Alkan's withdrawal from public life had a profound impact on his career, shaping the legacy he left behind. His music, though brilliant and ahead of its time, was often overlooked by his contemporaries. It was simply too challenging, too unconventional for the tastes of the day, leaving many to struggle with its complexity. Alkan, it seemed, was content to let his music speak for itself, even if it meant whispering in the shadows, away from the applause and recognition. Charles-Valentin Alkan was born into a world steeped in music. The Alkan family, originally named Mordecai, resided in the heart of Paris. It was a Jewish community known for its musical heritage. His father, Alkan Morhange, was a respected figure. A renowned musician and teacher, he instilled in his children a deep love for music. The Alkan household resonated with the sounds of instruments. Young Charles-Valentin and his siblings breathed music as naturally as air. The family's apartment, though modest, became a haven for musical exploration. Alkan Morhange ran a successful music school. It was located on the ground floor of their building. Here, he taught piano and other instruments to eager students. The sounds of scales, arpeggios, and budding melodies filled the air, creating a vibrant and inspiring atmosphere. It was within this nurturing environment that Charles-Valentin's extraordinary talent first began to blossom. Recognizing his son's exceptional gifts, Alkan Morhange took it upon himself to nurture Charles-Valentin's talent. He became his son's first and most influential teacher. Under his father's guidance, the young Alkan flourished. He absorbed musical knowledge like a sponge, mastering complex techniques with astonishing speed. His progress was nothing short of remarkable. It soon became clear that Charles-Valentin was no ordinary child. Word of the boy's prodigious talent began to spread beyond the family apartment. Neighbors and friends of the Alkans marveled at the child's abilities. They spoke of his playing with a mixture of awe and admiration. It was as if his small hands could unlock a world of emotions hidden within the keys of the piano. His father, though proud, remained a strict and disciplined teacher. He recognized that natural talent needed to be honed through rigorous practice and dedication. At the tender age of 6, Charles-Valentin Alkan was deemed ready for a bigger stage. His father enrolled him in the prestigious Paris Conservatoire. This venerable institution, a beacon of musical excellence, had nurtured generations of renowned musicians. Its hallowed halls had witnessed the rise of musical giants. For the young Alkan, it was both an honor and a challenge. He was determined to prove himself worthy of this extraordinary opportunity. He faced fierce competition. The Conservatoire attracted the most talented young musicians from across France and beyond. Yet, Alkan rose to the challenge with remarkable grace and determination. He excelled in all his classes, impressing his teachers with his exceptional ear, his natural musicality, and his relentless work ethic. His talent was undeniable. It shone through in every performance, in every composition he produced. Alkan's hard work and dedication did not go unnoticed. He quickly became a star pupil at the Conservatoire. He consistently won awards and accolades in various disciplines. His piano playing, in particular, was recognized as exceptional. He possessed a rare combination of technical brilliance and emotional depth. His performances captivated audiences and left a lasting impression on all who heard him play. The Conservatoire, with its rigorous curriculum and emphasis on excellence, played a pivotal role in shaping Alkan's musical development. He thrived in this competitive yet nurturing environment. He honed his skills, expanded his musical horizons, and developed his own unique voice. It was during these formative years that the seeds of his future greatness were sown. While Alkan excelled as a pianist, his true passion lay in composition. He possessed a unique musical voice, one that yearned to break free from convention. Already as a young student, he began to compose his own pieces. His early works, though clearly influenced by the Romantic composers of the time, hinted at the originality and complexity that would characterize his mature compositions. Alkan's compositions were not for the faint of heart. He pushed the boundaries of harmony and form, exploring dissonances and rhythmic complexities that were ahead of his time. His music demanded virtuosity from the performer and a willingness to embrace the unconventional from the listener. Even in these early works, one could sense the restless spirit of a true innovator, a composer determined to forge his own path in the world of music. As Alkan transitioned from student to professional musician, Paris opened its arms to him. He was a sought-after performer. Concert halls welcomed his virtuosity. Intimate salons cherished his nuanced interpretations. His reputation as a pianist of extraordinary ability spread throughout the city. His concerts were highly anticipated events. Audiences flocked to witness his dazzling technique and passionate playing. But Alkan's heart was pulled in two directions. The applause was intoxicating. Yet, the solitude of composition called to him. He found himself increasingly drawn away from the stage. He preferred the quiet intensity of his writing desk. Here, he could explore the full range of his musical ideas without the constraints of public performance. Alkan poured his energy into composition. He produced a diverse catalog of works. His focus was primarily on piano music. He wrote for solo piano, chamber ensembles, and orchestra with piano. His compositions were often technically demanding. They explored the full sonic possibilities of the instrument. Alkan's music was not for the faint of heart. It demanded precision, stamina, and a willingness to embrace the unconventional. His works were often lengthy, pushing the boundaries of traditional forms. His use of harmony was adventurous, exploring dissonances and chromaticism that were unusual for his time. Alkan's own virtuosity as a pianist is evident in his compositions. He demanded the utmost from the performer. His works are filled with rapid scales, arpeggios that span the entire keyboard, and intricate chordal passages. He explored extreme dynamic contrasts, moving from whisper-quiet pianissimos to thunderous fortissimos. Yet, Alkan's music was more than just technical showmanship. He infused his compositions with emotional depth and intellectual rigor. His music was often introspective and melancholic. It explored themes of solitude, religious faith, and the human condition. He challenged the listener to look beyond the surface brilliance and delve into the heart of his musical ideas. One of Alkan's most significant works is the Grande Sonate, Opus 33. This monumental work, subtitled Quatre Âges de la Vie, Four Ages of Man, is a musical journey through the stages of human life. Each of the four movements depicts a different age, from the youthful exuberance of the first movement to the contemplative resignation of the last. The Grande Sonate is a work of immense scope and ambition. It is also a deeply personal work, reflecting Alkan's own introspective nature and his fascination with the human condition. The work's technical demands are formidable, requiring a pianist of exceptional skill and stamina. It is a testament to Alkan's own virtuosity and his unwavering belief in the expressive power of music. Alkan was a master of the piano's pedals. He used them not merely for sustaining notes, but as an integral part of his sound world. He explored the possibilities of the sostenuto pedal, a relatively new invention in his time. This allowed him to create ethereal effects and sustain specific harmonies, while allowing other voices to move freely. His innovative use of the pedals added a new dimension to piano playing. It influenced later composers like Debussy and Ravel. Alkan's exploration of the piano's sonic possibilities helped to expand the instrument's expressive range and pave the way for future generations of composers and pianists. Yet, despite his obvious genius, Alkan remained an enigma to many of his contemporaries. His music, while admired by some, was often considered too difficult, too unconventional for mainstream tastes. His reclusive nature further contributed to his obscurity. He seemed content to let his music speak for itself, even if it meant whispering in the shadows. It was only after his death that Alkan's music began to receive wider recognition. A new generation of musicians and scholars, fascinated by his unique voice and his uncompromising artistry, began to champion his works. Slowly but surely, Alkan's music emerged from the shadows, revealing its brilliance to a wider world. As Alkan's music gained recognition, he stepped back. He retreated from the public eye. His concert appearances became infrequent. He declined invitations to perform at prestigious venues. This withdrawal puzzled his contemporaries. Some whispered of eccentricity, others speculated about personal tragedies. The truth remains elusive. Alkan's retreat from the concert stage coincided with a deepening of his compositional voice. He seemed to find solace in his writing. His music became even more introspective, more technically demanding, and more harmonically adventurous. It was as if he were retreating into a world of his own creation, a world where he could explore the furthest reaches of his musical imagination without constraint. Alkan's life became shrouded in mystery. He lived a solitary existence in his Paris apartment. He surrounded himself with books, musical scores, and his beloved piano. Few were granted access to his private world. Those who described him as a kind and generous man, deeply passionate about music and literature. Rumors circulated about his eccentricities. Some said he slept during the day and composed only at night. Others claimed he had developed an obsession with religious mysticism. Whether these tales were true or merely apocryphal, they added to the mystique surrounding this enigmatic figure. Alkan seemed to cultivate his image as a recluse, further distancing himself from the world outside his apartment walls. Musicologists and biographers have long debated the reasons for Alkan's reclusiveness. Some attribute it to a profound shyness, an inability to cope with the pressures of public life. Others suggest a deep-seated dissatisfaction with the superficiality of the Parisian salon scene. Still others point to a possible romantic disappointment, a broken heart that led him to withdraw from the world. Without definitive answers, we are left to piece together fragments of evidence, to read between the lines of his music and the scant accounts of his contemporaries. The mystery of Alkan's reclusiveness endures, adding another layer of intrigue to the story of this extraordinary musician. Alkan's decision to withdraw from public life came at a cost. While he continued to compose prolifically, his music was largely neglected by the musical establishment. His works were considered too difficult, too unconventional for the tastes of the day. His refusal to promote himself or to court the favor of influential critics only exacerbated his isolation. Ironically, Alkan's reclusiveness, which was likely intended to protect his artistic freedom, may have ultimately hindered his ability to share his music with the world. Despite the efforts of a few devoted champions, his works remained largely unknown to the wider public during his lifetime. He became a musical recluse, his genius hidden away from the world like a precious jewel locked away in a vault. Yet Alkan seemed unconcerned with fame or fortune. He remained dedicated to his art, composing for himself, for the sheer joy of creation. His music was his refuge, his solace, his way of communicating with the world on his own terms. He poured his heart and soul into his compositions, creating works of extraordinary beauty, complexity, and emotional depth. In his music, we find a reflection of his complex personality, the virtuosity, the intellect, the introspection, the deep well of emotion that he kept hidden from the world. Alkan's music is a testament to the power of art to transcend the limitations of time and place, to speak to us across the centuries and connect us to the soul of a truly unique and enigmatic artist. Despite his reclusiveness, Alkan was not entirely forgotten. A select group of musicians recognized his genius. They understood the depth and originality of his music. These were not the fashionable composers of the day. They were kindred spirits, drawn to Alkan's uncompromising artistry. Among this circle were pianists of exceptional ability. They were willing to grapple with the technical challenges of his compositions. They saw beyond the notes on the page. They felt the emotional weight, the intellectual rigor, and the sheer beauty of Alkan's musical language. Through their performances, they kept his music alive, nurturing a small but dedicated following. One of Alkan's most ardent admirers was Franz Liszt. Liszt, the Romantic era's superstar pianist and composer, recognized a kindred spirit in Alkan. Both were virtuosos, pushing the boundaries of piano technique. Both were composers who dared to challenge convention. Liszt championed Alkan's music. He included his works in his own concerts. He encouraged his students to study Alkan's scores. He recognized in Alkan a composer of extraordinary gifts, a true original whose voice deserved to be heard. Liszt's support, though invaluable, could only do so much to overcome the general indifference toward Alkan's music. Alkan's influence, while subtle, can be traced in the works of later composers. His exploration of unusual harmonies, his innovative use of the piano's pedals, and his penchant for complex, contrapuntal textures left their mark on the musical landscape. Composers like Debussy and Ravel, though stylistically different, were undoubtedly aware of Alkan's work. They absorbed elements of his harmonic language and his approach to piano writing. Even today, echoes of Alkan can be heard in the works of contemporary composers who are drawn to his unique blend of romantic sensibility and modernist experimentation. His music continues to inspire, to challenge, and to expand the possibilities of musical expression. For much of the 20th century, Alkan remained a composer's composer. His music was known primarily to a small circle of devotees. However, in recent decades, there has been a resurgence of interest in his work. Pianists have rediscovered the joy of playing his challenging but rewarding compositions. Scholars have delved into his life and music, shedding new light on this enigmatic figure. Recordings of Alkan's works have become more widely available, allowing a new generation of listeners to experience the power and originality of his music. The Alkan Society, founded in 1972, has played a key role in promoting his music and fostering scholarship. This renewed interest is a testament to the enduring power of Alkan's music, its ability to speak across time and touch the hearts and minds of listeners. Alkan's music, though rooted in the Romantic tradition, also points toward the future. His willingness to experiment with harmony, form, and texture, his exploration of the piano's sonic possibilities, and his uncompromising individuality place him at the forefront of musical innovation. He can be seen as a bridge between the Romanticism of the 19th century and the modernism of the 20th. His music, with its complex harmonies and dissonances, its rhythmic innovations, and its introspective spirit, paved the way for later composers who would break even more decisively from tradition. Alkan's legacy is a reminder that true genius is often ahead of its time. It is a call to rediscover the beauty and power of a musical voice that was silenced for too long. Charles-Valentin Alkan's life was like one of his compositions, complex, unconventional, and full of unexpected turns. His story is one of brilliance and mystery, a tale that continues to intrigue music lovers and historians alike. Born into a musical family in the heart of Paris, he seemed destined for greatness from an early age. Surrounded by the vibrant cultural life of the city, Alkan's early exposure to music was both profound and inspiring. His talent as a pianist was undeniable. By the time he was a teenager, he was already performing in prestigious venues, captivating audiences with his extraordinary skill and emotional depth. His compositions, even in his youth, hinted at a unique and original voice. He achieved early success, with his works being performed and praised by some of the most influential musicians of his time. He earned the respect of his peers. Esteemed composers and performers recognized his genius, and he was often invited to collaborate and share his insights. Yet, he chose a different path, one that led him away from the spotlight and into the depths of his own creative world. This decision puzzled many, as it seemed to contradict the trajectory of a rising star. His reclusiveness, while puzzling to many, was an essential part of his artistic identity. It was in solitude that Alkan found the freedom to explore his deepest musical ideas without the pressures of public expectation. It allowed him to explore the furthest reaches of his musical imagination without constraint, to delve into the complexities of harmony and rhythm that few dared to venture, to create works of astonishing complexity and emotional depth. His compositions were not just music. They were profound statements of his inner world, rich with emotion and intellectual rigor. His music, like his life, was a testament to his unwavering commitment to his art, his relentless pursuit of perfection, and his deep understanding of the human condition. His refusal to compromise his vision for the sake of popularity or critical acclaim. Alkan's legacy is a reminder that true artistry often requires solitude, dedication, and an unyielding belief in one's creative vision. The mystery surrounding Alkan's life continues to fascinate us. Why did a musician of such obvious talent choose to withdraw from the world? What personal demons or artistic frustrations drove him to seek solace in solitude? These questions have no easy answers. They linger in the silences between the notes of his music, adding another layer of intrigue to his already enigmatic persona. Perhaps the answer lies not in seeking a definitive explanation, but in embracing the enigma. Alkan's life and music remind us that true artistry often defies categorization, that genius can manifest in unexpected ways. His story challenges us to look beyond the surface, to listen attentively to the whispers of a voice that was often drowned out by the clamor of his time. Fortunately, Alkan's music has not been lost to the world. Thanks to the efforts of dedicated musicians, scholars, and enthusiasts, his works have been rescued from obscurity. A new generation of pianists has embraced the technical and interpretive challenges of his compositions, bringing his music to life for modern audiences. Recordings of his works have become more widely available, allowing listeners around the world to discover the power and beauty of his musical language. The Alkan Society, founded in 1972, has played a pivotal role in this revival. Through its publications, conferences, and concerts, the Society has fostered a deeper understanding and appreciation of Alkan's contributions to music. The Society's work has helped to ensure that Alkan's music will continue to be heard, studied, and cherished for generations to come. Listening to Alkan's music is an immersive experience. It demands our full attention. His compositions are not background music. They are works of art to be contemplated, to be grappled with, to be experienced on a visceral as well as an intellectual level. His music is not easily categorized. It straddles the line between romanticism and modernism. It combines elements of both while forging a path that is uniquely his own. In his music, we hear echoes of Bach's contrapuntal mastery, Beethoven's emotional intensity, and Chopin's lyrical beauty. Yet these influences are absorbed and transformed into something wholly original. In the 21st century, a time of rapid technological advancement and ever-shortening attention spans, Alkan's music offers a welcome respite from the noise and distractions of modern life. His works, with their intricate structures, their emotional depth, and their uncompromising individuality, remind us of the enduring power of music to move, to challenge, and to inspire. As we delve deeper into Alkan's world, we discover a composer of extraordinary gifts, a musical visionary whose voice, though silenced for too long, now speaks to us with renewed clarity and power. His music, like all great art, transcends the limitations of time and place, connecting us to the soul of a true original, a master of his craft, and a seeker of musical truth.